Welcome to the Value Meta. This week we're back in Mono Black and we're playing Mono Black Discard. So this is a deck where we want to force our opponent to discard to gain an advantage, pressure it and move forward. One of the main cards in this deck is Waste Not. You see at the bottom here, it's a 2-mana enchantment that triggers whenever opponent discards a card. Now if they discard a land, we get mana. Discard a creature, we get a zombie. If they discard anything else, we draw a card. So with that in mind, we'll do our usual breakdown. Let's start with our Mythics. So we have the Hostile Investigator. This is a 4-mana free fall that when it enters, an opponent discards a card, and whenever a player discards a card, we investigate. This only triggers once a turn, but banking clues for additional card advantage can be really good in this deck. The thing is, we're 1-for-1ing by using discard effects, so anything that can give us advantage over that is pretty good. Then we have Akazot, the Deepest Betrayal, a 5-mana flying 4/4 that whenever it attacks, the opponent must discard a card, and if they can't, we draw a card, and then whenever they discard a land, we make a bat token. So it also can flip into a land that we can flip back if they don't have a card. So these are just one-ofs, and then we have a 2-of for the final one of Dark Confidant, which is basically a extra draw spell at the beginning of the turn, but we will lose life equal to the revealed mana value of the card. When I first built this deck I had 4 of these, but that is a quick way to drain yourself out very quickly, so we only run 2 of them. So down into our rares, we have the Waste Not previously discussed. We have Tiny Bones, the Bauble Burglar, which is another discard effect on a stick but can also stash away cards which get discarded. We then run 2 Preacher of the Schisms. This is another advantage engine. So it is basically a 2/4 Death Touch, which is good stats, but when it attacks, if we have the most life, we'll draw an additional card and lose a life. But if we're trailing in life, we'll make a lifelink blocker, which is very valuable and can't be overstated. Finally, we have 3 copies of Thoughtseize. This should probably be a full playset, but I didn't have the 4th one. But you know, you can make do with what you have. Moving down into our uncommons, we have Cling to Dust for Graveyard Hate, Fatal Push and Go for the Throat as solid removal options to deal with any threats that get through. We have Bandit's Talent as a alternate win condition. It is a discard spell when it enters, and when we level it up, it is a drainer, and then when we level it up again, it basically becomes card advantage. Finally, we have Go Blank, which is a double discard into a exile that player's graveyard. So very good in many accounts. Down into our commons, we have 4 Duresses and a single copy of Burglar Rat. You could throw in... I have the 1 Burglar Rat here as a makeup piece. If you are missing pieces of this deck, there is an absolute buttload of these creatures which have the stat line of when they enter, opponent discards a card. So just run those or whatever you have in your collection. Finally, our mana base is pretty simple. 21 Swamps, 1 Demolition Field and 4 Field of Ruin. You could go up to 22 and just run the 4 Field of Ruin. I like the Field of Ruin just to punish any special lands that someone might play. Also get punishing greedy mana bases. And that is the deck. So we want to discard, we want to gain value, and we want to pressure the board. Let's look at some games and see how it went. Straight into it here, and we're going to open with a Thoughtseize. We went first and kept an opening 7. Our opponent is on mono red. Alright, so we can't take away all their creatures here. So I think the best bet to do is take away one of their bulk up effects to slow them down. Basically, we need to get a Waste Not on the field, and we need to draw more discard or a blocker or something. Alright, so we've drew a Go Blank, which is good. So let's get Waste Not down and see if we can survive. It is quite probable we get overrun here. Best of 1 mono red is an absolute monster. Alright, so are they going to... Yep, they expedite here to draw a card and gain more value. Attacking in. Okay, I think we have to force the discard here. I would love to get another Waste Not down to get more value, but I think our best bet is just going to be discard whatever we can and see what we get. Alright, so discard 2... So we're going to get a zombie and draw a card. Preacher of the Schism is a fantastic roadblock here. It is a Death Toucher that will deal with anything. Where do we go from here? Right, they're doing maths, which is always scary with the mono red deck. They could just straight up have us dead to rights. Let's see what happens. Titan Strength. Okay. So we have to block the Cacophony Scamp. Oh, second pump spell. Turn inside out. Alright. Right, they're up to 7. We have to block here because if they could sack the thing at the end of combat and do an additional 7 here. So we're taking 7. And they're going to Manifest Dread. So I think our best bet here now is going to have to be... Yeah, down to 4. Okay. I think we have to play the Tiny Bones. I'm going to hold up Instance Bleed, Cling to Dust here to exile their creature to gain free life. Because that might give us enough to survive here. Alright, end step, I'm just going to gain some life here. Let's get rid of the Cacophony Scamp with the Cling to Dust. We're up to 7. There's our third Waste Knot. Okay, we could force them to discard here. I think our best bet is Preacher of the Schism. We just need more blockers. And then we'll hold back and see what they do on their turn. They're probably trying to save resources for enough to kill us. Alright, there's a Leyline of Resonance. Yep. Okay. Alright, let's attack in with Preacher to gain a life-linking vampire. See if they want to trade anything. They don't. Okay, then let's just get multiple Waste Knots down here. We cannot play a Dark Confidant here because we will literally just get dunked on. And they concede. They must have just run out of gas. Lucky for us there. Match 2 with Waste Knot. And we have Duress into Bandit into Preacher. That's pretty good. Oh, Stitcher. Alright, this could be an issue. So, yep, this looks like Esper Greasefang. So, let's Duress them. I think we take away their Faithful Mending. We cut out their card advantage here. And then we'll pass it back. I remember this game now. This one actually had a very interesting line. You'll notice that we're playing these games back at ×1 speed. Turns out people aren't a big fan of discard decks. So let's get the Bandit talents down. So they either discard 2 cards or a single non-land card. There goes the second Parhelion. Right, so we've got a dodge of Greasefang here. We've got to look for a go blank to exile the graveyard or a Cling to Dust. Tome Scour, they mill more cards, get more vehicles in. Still no Greasefang. They're checking to see if they can get anything back. I'm just looking at their graveyard as well. Don't see anything, so we'll just take the 1 here. We could just straight up die to an immediate Preacher here. I'm going to have to take a turn off. Normally I would leave up interaction, but I need to pressure here. Plus they don't currently have it, so they would have to get like a miracle draw here to get it, but it could happen. They Tome Scour, mill 5 more cards, find a Surveil free card over Overworld Oddity in the graveyard. So they can Surveil from that. Yep, they Surveil. They mill a card and keep a card on top. So I look at this and go, okay, well this is pretty straightforward then. I'm going to Fatal Push their Stitcher because I'm going to mill them. If they put a card on top they desperately wanted, I'm going to mill it. And they just straight up concede. Interesting. Very peculiar. I wonder what that card was. Final match here with Mono Black Discard. And this hand is a bit slow, but it has great card advantage with the Dark Confidant. Obviously, if we're up against a burn or aggro deck, this is very scary, but building to a Hostile Negotiator seems pretty good. So let's get a Dark Confidant down. I see Gruul, so I'm expecting prowess or potentially something scary. But they're just making more mana. Okay. So with this in mind, I'm going to get a Preacher of the Schism down because he can start making us lifelink vampires. I offer the trade. So they clearly want to ramp to something because they did not trade the Llanowar Elves. There's a summon Fenrir, and I'm like, what is this deck? And then I realize, you'll realize what this deck is in a moment. There's a go blank. So I'm going to play the Hostile Negotiator to start discarding cards from them and see what they get. It's Random Encounter, the deck. So this was a deck that Goldfish played recently, which was really cool. We offer the trade for Fenrir and get in for 2, making a lifelinker. Random Encounter, they mill and they find a Terror of the Peaks, so we're going to take 5 here. Terror of the Peaks is going to go back to their hand. Alright, so I'm going to duress them first. Nothing but big creatures, so let's go blank to get rid of those 2 random encounters and get 2 cards out of their hand here. We will also trigger making another token, swing in here, make another lifelinker. We're on 11, opponent is on 9. We are not out of the woods yet. The Boiler Biggers card here could destroy us if they play it down. They instead go for an Overlord, which is really peculiar here. So I'm like, okay, well, they've left their hand open. I'm going to force them to discard. Discard 2 more, investigate. I'm going to attack with the Schism, draw a card, pass back. Play a land, and I'm going to play Tiny... you know what, I'm going to crack a clue here, see what I find. Fortsy's not relevant, but we'll pass back. They top deck Calamity, which is terrifying. So this will make multiple copies of what they attack with. Okay, so we have to block here. We're going to take the 4. And we can crack back for 6, but I don't think we have enough here. We have to find removal, which we don't find. So I'm going to play some blockers. Attack in. Do I attack in here? I attack in with 1. I'm going to keep the Death Toucher back. They have to not draw a flyer to kill us. And they draw the perfect flyer. No, it was so close. Good game. Good game. Great top deck at the end there for them.